Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 11 in the National Football League. Marquee matchup. This was the one everyone was probably waiting for in week number 11. I know this was the one I had circled on the calendar. The NFL obviously had it circled on their calendar as well as they moved this game from a 4 o'clock start to prime time on Sunday night. They flexed the Giants and Packers out of that spot and put this game into it. And can you blame them? 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs coming off of their bye, traveling to their AFC West rivals, the Denver Broncos, or excuse me, other way around, the Denver Broncos hosting, or yes, I had that right, traveling to the Denver Broncos at 8-1 with Peyton Manning, ankles, will he, won't he play, a lot of different things going on there, but this was a game that many people wanted to see for a number of different reasons. One, can this dominant Chiefs defense hang tough with this potent offense? And there was a lot of number ones going against each other. Number one defense versus number one offense. Number one scoring defense versus number one scoring offense. Number one this versus number one that. It was a lot of these one versus one matchups, and you wanted to know who was going to win out. Was this Chiefs defense up for the task of slowing down Peyton Manning and this high-powered offense in Denver? Was this Denver Broncos offense ready to go up against a defense that was aggressive, that can get after the quarterback? Peyton having the ankle issues re-aggravated it against San Diego at the end of that game. Was he going to be able to hold up against a Chiefs team that can get after the quarterback and really make life miserable for Peyton Manning? A lot of different storylines and dynamics going on in this game, and so it was going to be one that was fun to watch. So let's go ahead, get to the board and break this down and tell you how this looked through the eyes of me. So 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs coming off that bye, playing some exceptional football, doing just enough on the offensive end and sprinkling in a little bit of special teams and a lot of elite defense going up against the 8-1 Denver Broncos. Only one blemish on that record on Sunday Night Football against the Indianapolis Colts. Could lightning strike again for the Kansas City Chiefs and see this Denver Broncos drop their second game of the season, both happening on Sunday Night Football? We'll see. Let's break it on down. Denver with a great start to the game, great field position on their opening possession. They get a field goal. It's 3-0. Somewhat of a win for the Chiefs. I mean, they started this drive either already in Chiefs territory or right on the fringe of it. And so the Broncos were able to get off the field, pin the Chiefs. They started the game off with the penalty, and that's never a good sign. That's always an ominous sign when you start the game off with a penalty pre-snap before you even get off your first play of the game. That backed them up. They weren't able to pick up a first down, had to punt deep in their own territory, and it really kind of set the tempo for this game, set the stage early on. Denver gets great field position. Normally, they get field position like this, they're going down, they're cashing it in for 7. But this Chiefs defense is a stingy one, and they were able to hold them to just a field goal. It's 3-0 Denver. This was the big turn of events in this game for the Chiefs, for the Broncos, for everyone involved in this football game. This was the one that really shaped this game. Teams exchange fumbles. First, the Chiefs are able to force a fumble of Peyton Manning, they were able to force a fumble of the running back, Monte Ball. He puts the ball on the ground, and the Chiefs recover this football. Derek Johnson scoops it up. They are in prime real estate to score points. We're talking about right around the Denver Broncos 30-yard line. They're ready to go in, at least get a field goal and tie this thing up. So the very next play of the game, first of that possession for the Chiefs after the fumble, they give the ball to Anthony Sherman, throw it to him, and he has the ball ripped out of his arms. It's recovered by the Broncos, and that to me right there was the game-changing play of this game, because if you're the Chiefs, you're on the road, you know you got to score points to beat the Broncos. You got to have something there. Your defense goes out and gets you a turnover, much like they've done all season long. They put you in a position to score against a high-powered Denver Broncos offense. They take the football from them, give it to you in a position to score. You got to get something out of that. It doesn't matter whether it's a field goal, a touchdown. You must get something out of that possession to come away with nothing, and let alone on the very next play to give it right back. Catastrophic if you are the Kansas City Chiefs. Huge play for the Denver Broncos, because even though they don't go down the field and get any points after that turnover, they flip field position. You have to go 70, 80 yards to get points now, instead of you already being in field goal range, which you were already at when you recovered that fumble. So if nothing else, if they just go 3 and out and punt, which I think they ultimately did on that possession, they make you flip field position and have to go 70 yards to get in the field goal range. Go 85 yards to get a touchdown. And that was the problem with that play. You got to get something there if you're Kansas City. Big play in the football game by the Denver Broncos. So, huge gainer for Demaryius Thomas, leads to a juice touchdown. It's 10-0 Denver. And this was something that I wanted to see. You knew the Kansas City Chiefs were going to play man-to-man coverage. This is a team not afraid to challenge you with man-to-man coverage across the board and bring the heat to you and come after your quarterback and get him down on the ground, force the issue. And so we knew that was going to be something to watch in this game. How were these Chief defenders in the secondary going to match up with these Denver Bronco options and weapons out wide? Who was going to match up with Juice? Well, we saw it was going to be Eric Barrett. Who was going to match up with Wes Welker? What we saw was Brandon Flowers. Who was going to match up with Demaryius Thomas? What we saw was Sean Smith. And it was also Marcus Cooper. So you knew they were going to play around with these matchups, and we were going to see some guys going after each other. A lot of good one-on-one matchups. And I thought that the Chiefs hung in there. They did some things that a lot of teams can't do against the Denver Broncos. A lot of teams can't just go man-to-man across the board and really be in those matchups consistently. But the Chiefs held their own in this game. I'll tell you something in a little bit, though, that I kind of knew this wasn't going to be the night for the Chiefs. But big drive here. Demaryius wins on a one-on-one. Essentially runs a 9 route up the seam, up the sideline. Payton puts it on him, as he has done all season long. And that led to a juice slant. He got inside on Eric Berry, won the matchup one-on-one, and again, it was mano-a-mano, and I tell you what, it was fun to watch these guys go mano-a-mano, one-on-one. You against me, who's going to win this battle? And Juice didn't win this one by much, but he got inside leverage. He was able to give Payton a target to throw the football to. Payton put it on him. Eric tackled him, but he got in the end zone. It's 10-0 Denver Broncos. Let me stop right here before I get to the next bullet. This is where I knew the Chiefs were struggling. I thought Alex Smith came out, and I thought the Chiefs were actually aggressive. We all know that this Chiefs team, they don't score a lot of points offensively. They don't take a lot of shots down the field. They're a very calculated offense. They don't take a lot of risks. They want to matriculate the ball down the field, 11, 12, 13 plays, a lot of nickel and diamond, a lot of running the football, a lot of safe plays so that they don't put their defense in precarious situations. But I actually thought they came out in this game, took some shots down the field, and I actually thought Alex Smith threw the ball well early in this game, and I thought guys let him down by not catching the ball. Mainly Donnie Avery on that back shoulder throw about 35 yards down the field. You can't throw it any better than that. He put it right in Donnie Avery's hands, and he dropped the football. And in a big game like this on the road against the Denver Broncos, gotta have that. Gotta make that catch. Dwayne Bowe dropped a couple of passes. Flat out dropped the football. Guys were not stepping up and helping Alex Smith out in this game. And there was one right down the sideline. They ultimately called pass interference or illegal contact or holding or something on the play. But Dwayne Bowe should have caught that football. He did not. And these are the type of plays that guys have to step up and make if you're going to try to beat a team as high-powered as the Denver Broncos. Got to make these plays. And that's when I knew maybe the Chiefs aren't going to win this game, because you need to take advantage of every opportunity you get. When you're on the road against Denver Broncos, against Peyton Manning-led football team, you got to be able to take advantage of opportunities and not getting that fumble and taking that and turning it into points and not catching the football when Alex Smith is putting it on the money. It's not going to yield dividends for you in this football game. It's not going to end well for you in this game. So Chiefs, however, down 10-0, respond with an 11-play, 80-yard touchdown drive capped by a Dwayne Bowe 4-yard touchdown grab. It's now 10-7. This was aided by a Duke Iheanacho unsportsmanlike conduct penalty where I think you were going to have to settle for a field goal. He has the boneheaded penalty. It gives you new life. You end up getting the football in the end zone. It's a 10-7 game. Just imagine if you were able to get a touchdown or a field goal on that fumble. We could be talking about you actually leading at this point or this being a tied football game. Instead, you're still trailing by 3. And this was another tall tale sign right here that maybe this wasn't going to be your night. Too much Thomas and Thomas. That being Demarius and that being Julius, a.k.a. Juice. These guys were consistently getting open, winning these one-on-one matchups, especially Demarius Thomas. He was really having his way in this Chiefs secondary, and they take the ball down the field, leads to a Monte Ball 1-yard touchdown. It's now 17-7. You can kind of feel this game slipping away from you if you are the Kansas City Chiefs, because as well as you've played defensively, and I think you've played well up until this point, you forced a turnover, you gave your offense a chance. You're just not getting enough from the offense to feel like you're going to win this football game, and now you're down 10. And we know the Kansas City Chiefs do not score a lot of points, and they haven't given up over 17 this year. And so the Denver Broncos are already at that mark. And we know that the Chiefs don't score a lot of points because they don't have to. Normally the defense is holding teams down, so 17 might be enough. We've seen them beat the Cleveland Browns 17-16. We've seen them win games this season 17-16. They beat the Dallas Cowboys, I believe 17-16 or something to that effect. So we've seen them win games like this. They're not going to be able to win this game with 17 points. We know the Broncos are going to score. This offense had to show up, and they're not doing that to this point. Chiefs answer with a beautiful drive, but can't get in the end zone. That's a problem. You're playing against the Broncos. You got to have touchdowns. I say this all the time, and you know the motto. Field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do, unless you're the Carolina Panthers or the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, this is the exception to that rule. You can't win with field goals against the Denver Broncos. You can't win with field goals against a team that can score 27, 35, 40 in the blink of an eye. You got to score points. Now, you're going to hold them down. They're not going to put up, 37, 44 points on you. That's not what you're going to give up to this team. You're too good defensively. However, your offense, your special teams, going to have to help you out. You're going to have to score 24. You're going to have to score 27. I think 24 would have been enough in this game to win if the offense would have helped you out, but they didn't help you enough on drives like this, where you put together a masterful drive, get down the field, but got to settle for a field goal. Can't happen. Instead of getting a touchdown, you got to kick a field goal, and you had first and goal from the 3-yard line, and you couldn't get it in. Inexcusable. You got to find a way to get in the end zone. Find a way in the end zone from the 3-yard line, first and goal. You got 3 cracks at it. You got to find a way in. And you weren't able to do that. You settle for the field goal. It's 17-10. But again, this is a Broncos team that you have to expect is going to score more points in this game. You got to try to keep pace until maybe your defense can force another turnover. Maybe you can have a breakthrough on special teams. But until then, you got to try to keep pace with this Denver Broncos offense. Denver gets into field goal range before the half, but missed. Demps almost had a pick six. Woo! That would have been a huge play in this game. He was all over a Peyton Manning speed out. And they tried to get it to one of the receivers out in the flats. Peyton didn't see Demps coming. He read it the whole way. He had to come from such a far distance. I was surprised he was even that close to the football. He read it beautifully, and Peyton never saw him. And Demps got in there at the last minute, but he almost had it. He thought he had a pick six. I mean, he was looking at his hands like, where's the football? And just so happens Peyton had just enough on it, and he was just off by a hair. He didn't get it. If he would have got that football, and that would have turned into a pick six, and you take the lead 17-14 at that point, it's a totally different ball game, and that would have been the spark, the big defensive play that you would have needed in this game to give you the confidence that you would have had a chance to win this game. But instead, it's still 14-10 at the half. Broncos They break the scoring seal in the second half as both teams struggle to try to find a way to get on the board in the second half. Broncos break that scoring seal in the second half with a late third quarter touchdown to Monte Ball as he rushes it in, and it's 24-10 at that point. You got to know at that point this game is done. You're not scoring 14 unanswered to tie this game up, and the Denver Broncos aren't done scoring in this game. You got to know at some point they're at least going to get another field goal in this football game. So if you're the Chiefs, again, it goes back to having opportunities to score points and you not doing so. Having opportunities to put touchdowns on the board and you not doing so. You got to find a way to get the football in the end zone against this Denver Broncos team. You're now down by 14 points. Again, this isn't an explosive Chiefs offense that's going to be able to just score points just like that. You need the help of your defense. You need the help of your special teams to put up those type of points. When you scored 31 against the Giants, special teams got involved, defense got involved, you scored 31 points. That's been your highest offensive output of the season, and everybody got involved. Offense, special teams, defense got involved in that football game. In order for you to score those type of points, you got to get contributions from other facets of the game other than offense, because we know the offense isn't built to put up 27 points by itself. Defense did its part early in the game, forcing that turnover. You got to do yours by cashing that in. So now, Denver continues to extend the lead with a field goal. You're now down 17. At this point, game's all but assured in the favor of the Denver Broncos. Chiefs make it interesting late with an Anthony Fasano touchdown at 27-17, but again, too little, too late. You're not going to make a furious comeback and win this game, send it into overtime or anything like that. Broncos win this game 27-17. I actually thought this was a well-played football game on both parts by both teams. But if you're the Chiefs, this is a story about missed opportunities. That fumble early in the game, got to get something out of that. That first and goal from the 3-yard line, got to get a touchdown out of that. That Will Demps play, got to find a way to pick that one off and take it to the house. Even though he made a phenomenal play and attempt at that football, got to find a way to get that one out of there. You had opportunities in this game, simply did not take full advantage of them. And against a team like the Denver Broncos, you know that you have to take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way. So essentially, that's it. I mean, this is going to be a fabulous matchup in 2 weeks in Kansas City. Can't wait to watch that one. I think if you're the Chiefs, you got to feel really good about your opportunity that you'll have in that game in a couple of weeks to take care of business and possibly get a win at home versus a really good Denver Broncos team. You need that one for your psyche. You need to win that game at home for your mental health this season, because if you can beat the Broncos at home, what that will do for you is say, hey, we can beat anybody in the league anytime, anywhere, especially at home. And if you can beat the Broncos in Kansas City, that'll give you a leg up in the division. But not only will it do that, it will give you a leg up in the competition for best record in the AFC. And if you can find a way to secure home field throughout in the AFC playoffs, and teams have to come through Kansas City, it gets loud. It's much like the advantage that the Seahawks hold in the NFC. It's a tough place to play. And you haven't lost there all season long. And this crowd set the Guinness World Record for loudest stadium ever. You can actually do some serious damage if you get home field advantage. And if you beat the Broncos, you've got to feel like we can beat anybody at home. Anybody. And so I feel like it's imperative that you get that game at home versus the Denver Broncos. I feel like you put a valiant effort up here. And I felt like Alex Smith did some good things in this game. I felt like the defense, even though you gave up 27 in this game, I felt like the defense went out, played some good football, gave you opportunities. I just don't think that you took full advantage of all the opportunities in this game. And so you'll make some adjustments. And the next time you see these guys, you got to get more pressure on Peyton Manning. I don't think you got enough pressure on Peyton Manning in this game. You allowed him to have bum ankles and not be tested in this game. And so that's going to be something that you definitely have to focus in on the next time around, is getting to Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning does not like pressure in his face. You get pressure on Peyton Manning. I thought you did a phenomenal job of stuffing the run in this game. You made Peyton Manning beat you, and he beat you in this game. Next game, stop the run, much like you did in this football game, and you need to get pressure on Peyton Manning. Force the issue. When you get him off the spot, we've seen Peyton Manning struggle. He struggled against Indy in that loss this season when the Colts were able to get him off the spot, hurry him, force him into some mistakes, and they got pressure on him. If you can do the same thing, you'll have a shot in Kansas City in 2 weeks. Can't wait for that matchup. If you're the Denver Broncos, huge win at home, had to have it, could not afford to fall behind by 2 whole games and be losing the tiebreaker to this team. You had to have this one. That's going to set up a huge matchup in a couple of weeks in Arrowhead. Big win if you're the Denver Broncos, and you did exactly what you wanted to do in this game. Don't allow it to be close. Don't allow the Chiefs to be close with a chance to win this game because they're a dangerous football team, especially on the defensive side. You went out, you scored points. When there were opportunities to get touchdowns, you did what they couldn't do. You punched it in the end zone, a couple of Monte Ball rushing touchdowns, another strike to Juice on that slant. So you were able to get in the end zone when the Kansas City Chiefs were not, and that was the difference in this game. Broncos get it done 27-17, go to 9-1 in the season. So do the Kansas City Chiefs as they drop to 9-1 with this loss, their first of the season. There are no more undefeated teams in the National Football League as the Chiefs fall from the ranks of the unbeaten, the last to do so in the National Football League. Can't wait for that matchup in 2 weeks. Bart Scott, can't wait. That's going to do it for this installment of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. See you next time as I've got one more game to break down in week number 11 of the National Football League.